and I'm joined today by John. Of course, you listen to Podcast 404. Today, we just wanted to raise an issue. We recently watched a documentary on BBC iPlayer, the Ultra Zionists or something with Louis Theroux, and it's put to light some very controversial points, and we just wanted to discuss them with you. Um, so first of all, John, it is internationally illegal what they're doing. Do you want to just explain exactly what the Israeli uh, state is doing that is actually illegal?
Well, they're moving in on to Palestinian land and creating settlements for Israelis to live on, even though it's not Israeli land, basically, and just taking the land off the Palestinians and off the Arabs. And obviously, you can't do that. It's
Yeah.
illegal.
They're trying to, as I saw, they're trying to get like a majority in these neighborhoods, and they're like using militant evictions of Arab homes, which is, which is not good. And did you see the one with the family? The first of all at the beginning, they're trying to like what's it called? Trying to get people like the Jewish families to populate as much as they can, to have as many babies as they can, just because
Yeah,
they want to like get a Jewish majority.
yeah, definitely. It's like, well, that's the only way they can do it because Israel got such a small population. That's why they got such a large influx of immigrants from like the USA and anywhere where there's a Jew, where there's like if you're Jewish, I think you can go to Israel and live if you want to. You just got to prove that you're Jewish. I
Mm,
think that's the case anyway.
yeah.
But like I know someone who moved to Israel, and
Really?
he said that if you got to just prove you're Jewish, and they don't give you a house, but they give you a very discounted price on a house
Mm,
in one of the settlement areas. So it's they're asking people from other countries to move there just to settle in these places. So I don't know whether it's an ideological thing or they think they're entitled to it.
We'll talk about the actual reasons why they're doing this, but I got the impression from the documentary that if you live in a more dangerous area, but by that I mean like a neighborhood populated with a majority of Arabs, the actual Israeli state, they pay you more. They give you a bigger allowance or whatever it's called.
Um, I think he said that the rent's a lot cheaper. He didn't say it was, he kind of pointed in the direction that it was a lot cheaper. And there was a man who lived in this predominantly Arab neighborhood, and he had two like IDF bodyguards with him, paid for by the state.
Mm,
Um, so it wouldn't surprise me if they do that,
mm,
like more often than not. There's probably so much stuff that goes on we don't even know about, because
yeah,
we're only gonna see what they want us to see.
true.
So
So the reason behind it is obviously it's biblical. These people are reading a book that is 2,000 years old, and you know the, they're reading quite literally. Um, Basically, it's in the Bible. It's the promised land of the chosen people, or the Jews think at least. They're the chosen people by God, and they're saying it's their land. But the fact of the matter is, you've had these Arabs living there for generations. What do you think? Like, do you think they have any right to come in, like take the
um,
land? It's not. Is it theirs? Or,
it's hard to say really. I mean, if so many years, you can't say something is yours if you were driven from it. It's like, say you lived on one piece of land and I lived on another piece of land and I came and took it over
mm,
8,000 years ago,
yeah,
and then you 8,000 years later come back and say it's yours and then kick me off it. It's 8,000 years down the line.
yeah,
It's not yours anymore.
exactly.
So you can't really come back and say it's yours because it was one fair and square, if that makes sense.
True.
Like even if it back then there's probably no law for war. Now there is. They can't just because even if the Arabs did do it to them, they can't do it back. And especially in the way they're doing it, they're not doing it properly. Even if they did want it back, you can't say and move somewhere just because you think you deserve to live there. You can't move into someone's house just because you think you deserve to live there. You've chosen to live there.
Yeah.
can't go into your neighbour's house and say, it's my house, I've chosen to live here.
Exactly. I mean, it wouldn't happen in other place. I don't see why the international community just, like you said, it defends it. It's defended by the West, this kind of Israeli state. I was listening to a Question Time program. I was watching it, and one of the people mentioned Israel, and he said, with the recent Egypt unrest, he wants the new government, because it's like a power vacuum. Whoever takes over this power vacuum in Egypt, this British politician said they have to have a pro-Israeli viewpoint
Yep.
politically, which is just stupid. I mean, do you think that the support that Israel is receiving, the Israeli state from the West, do you think it's right or is it wrong? Like, what's your opinion?
Um, if Israel were more, they were less of an adjutant in the area, then I think it would be right. But they just don't diffuse anything. If anything, they make anything worse. So I'm not saying they're always the aggressors, because everything, the Palestinians are just as bad as the Israelis when it comes to firing stuff at each other.
Yeah.
But
You've got the Hamas, of course.
yeah, Hamas and all the other ones, like obviously Iran, they're obviously not going to back down. It's just so much tension in that one area.
Yeah.
And personally, I see Israel as like the West's foothold or ally in the Middle East, like its only ally, the major ally in the Middle East.
Yeah, that's probably the main reason why they back it.
And because they got nukes as well.
Yeah. Brings me on to the last point, and then we'll just round it up. We've obviously got many Jewish people. There's lots of Jewish people living in foreign countries. Only recently, in the last 50 years, have they started going back to what they think is their promised land. But you've still got a lot of Jewish people living abroad in powerful countries, Western countries like the USA, Britain, Germany, or whatever. You've got all these people, and they're really, really powerful. Some of these people, these foreign investors, and they're investing in Israeli state, and they're investing abroad as well to kind of get support for the state and its kind of ideology. But do you think sometimes they're doing it wrong when they start mentioning, and they're trying to get in like sympathy by mentioning like Auschwitz and all that crap? Do you think they're just trying to milk it, and it's wrong? Do you think it's right of them to say what they're saying sometimes, like Auschwitz?
Do you think they're well? Obviously, it was terrible what happened. I'm not saying they deserved it.
Sure, of course.
Like no one deserves anything like that. But it's just you can't. The half the people who live in Israel now, like not just half of them, say like 3/4 of the people that's pushing it weren't even alive then. Obviously, it was terrible what happened, but you can't just keep using that as an excuse. Keep saying, "Oh, I was persecuted like 70 years ago, so I need my own state."
Yeah.
Like, it's just you just can't keep doing it. Plenty of other people have been persecuted, and they haven't said, oh, I need my own state, and this is where I'm gonna live now." There's nothing you can do about it. And these people are gonna give me money, so it's okay. I don't know. It's boggled my mind.
All right. Lastly, I just want to get yes or no. Do you think obviously you've got Hamas fighting for the cause of the Palestinians? It's perceived as a largely a terrorist group, right? Do you
Yep.
think the IDF is unfairly labeled as a good force, or do you think both of them, the IDF and Hamas, are equally bad? Do you think?
Um, I think that both. Well, I don't want to say that IDF are terrorists because they don't. Well, the Israelis got Mossad and stuff to do all their dirty work. As Britain have probably got some organisation which do all their dirty work. The USA, every single other country has got their own little forces, their own dirty work. The idea, yeah, well, they're both about each other. Like the IDF just doing their job, but they're built on an ideology which is just. No, I can't say wrong, can I? Because
It's controversial, isn't it?
Yeah, They're built on a very controversial ideal.
Yeah. Okay. Perfectly summed up there by you. We're gonna leave it there. leave us comments below. Tell us what you think on the matter. I'll leave a link to the documentary so you can check it out if you haven't already. Anyway, this has been Lutrim, and
John.
till next time, guys. Bye bye.